Yo, what's up everyone? This is another weekly recap of everything creative I did this week. So one new thing I watched this week was a burlesque show. It was my first ever burlesque show, and all I can say is it's a crazy ride, but it got me started thinking about subcultures, and maybe in my photography I can focus on a subculture. Might not necessarily be burlesque, but something I'm already interested in, or even documenting a new subculture that I want to learn more about. And again, for this week, I didn't really make anything new except just post some photos on Instagram, but I have been editing more photos, and I'm running into this issue where I'm still on my work Adobe account, but the only thing is I don't work there at this company anymore. So I need to port everything to a personal Adobe account before I get boned and this subscription gets canceled, because apparently if you're trying to port things over from one Adobe account to another, you can't do it. Like, you can't move over your file organization or the way you've structured your folders into a new account. So I'm trying to get everything done somehow. And this week I didn't read anything new, but I did take a look again at Daido Moriyama's In Color Now and Never Again, since I just did release that video where I flip through it, react, and review it. And it's got me thinking about nudity again, but as I put out that video and have had discussions with friends who've watched it, I'm actually forming a more solid perspective on it, which hopefully I can share in a deeper video. But the point is, I think it has a lot to do with how we view nudity, the male and female body, in today's advertising and media, and how Daido Moriyama's photos and many other artists' works can serve to challenge that culture of how it is right now. I did discover one new artist though, and that is Hong Kong-born American photographer Tseng Kwong-Chi. Tseng Kwong-Chi, but it's actually pronounced Tseng Kwong-Chi. Shout out to Turta Hotmoko. Sorry if I butchered your name, but thanks for putting me on in the comments of my last video. Because of the offensive angle choices I made. I didn't know this was actually similar to some of his visual style, and it actually was. Thanks for putting me on. Tseng Kwong-Chi was a photographer in the 80s, and he was actually Keith Haring's official photographer, and he was so deep in the art scene here during that time that he actually photographed a lot of famous artists and performance artists during that time period. He also did a lot of work himself. He did a lot of conceptual, really witty performance art photography, a genre I didn't even really know about, but thanks to learning about this new artist, I'm gonna start getting into for sure. But one of his famous projects was he would dress up in a Mao suit, a Chinese government official, like Mao Zedong style suit, and wear sunglasses and tour the US and visit all the landmarks and take really touristy snapshots. But people would come up to him and think he was like a high-ranking Chinese government official and treat him differently. Deals with stuff about immigrants and being a foreigner and all that, so really interesting. And following up on last week's conversation about DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations, and I learned that DAOs are really just communities of people, but they're organizations that use smart contract software to facilitate coordination and collective group decision making. Instead of having a designated person tally up votes for a proposal and then, have the CEO or the leader of that group ultimately decide on whether or not he wants that proposal to happen, by using like smart contract software built into the code, people can vote, and once a threshold is reached that the code is designated for, then actions just execute. Like a proposal will just be passed through because it was written in the code. And that stuff is all public, so if you're like a community member, part of a DAO, there is transparency in seeing how the organization you join functions. Just super interesting, but it's an ongoing topic, and I'm sure I'm gonna talk about this again and bring it back to the photography community later on. And an update on something I talked about I was working on last week, which was going up to strangers and asking to make their street portraits. Well, let me tell you, your boy followed up. I went up and talked to 10 strangers, asked to make their portrait, and surprisingly, it went really well, and I learned a bunch of things that I'm gonna explain in a deeper video probably, hopefully coming out this week that I'm gonna make. But all in all, yeah, I got 9 yeses and 1 no. And even with that 1 no, it was really chill. He let me take pictures of like these really cool accessories that he was wearing. So I'm gonna keep up this challenge. Not even a challenge, just really keep up this practice and go from there. But yeah, stay tuned for that video. So that's it for me, but I want to know what you've been up to. So let me know in the comments about new things that you've watched, read, or projects that you're working on. And if you don't have anything going on or just haven't been able to, that's honestly fine. There's no pressure coming from me, and you shouldn't put pressure on yourself because life is hard and we got a lot of shit going on. So no pressure, and I'll see you guys in a future video. Peace. All right.